Hello everybody, welcome back. This is my second video in a week. How cool. Let's jump in and see what's going on. So around about here was when I did my previous labels video, just 2 days ago for me. Today is Friday the 24th of April, 1:44 p.m. And when I did my last video, we were floating around about here, and since then, it has gone up, and you can see our money flow, stochastic money flow heading oversold. This is a 3-minute chart, by the way, so of course. And let's see where it went. Oh, upsy daisies, up, and away. So, woohoo, off it goes. In fact, let's go into a 6-hour chart and see what we're looking at in our hurricane. The weather report is looking sunny. So our storm cloud says blue skies on the horizon, and mass load of volume there, stochastic money flow, energy is up. In fact, I'm seeing some bullishness going on there, and I'm thinking myself that we're probably going to want to test the 61.8 level. So, anyway, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it for now. So, let's have a look. What are we going to do today? We are going to look at another type of object that is available in version 4. On my last video, we went through labels. That's what we had there. So we were plotting the current price, whether it's bullish or bearish, and we offset it into the future. All right. So to do that, we offset the label 15 bars, and we were able to put in a text value current price, and we turned on or off the label. Great. All right, let's kill that. Well, today, what I'd like to do, let's go back to a 3-minute excitement. Everyone's heard of the Fibonacci retracement. So swing high, swing low. Oh, goodness me. Let's change the template to squiggles. There we go. So we have a swing high to a swing low, and we can see we've tapped on the 61.8, 65 level, rejected resistance at 50. Looks like it's coming into support at 50. So yeah, this is our Fibonacci. Now, if I was to jump out of the 3-minute into, say, a 1-hour chart, well, now we have a swing low to a swing high. Okay, so what if we were to use a new type of object in our code called line.new? This is an interesting one. So let me show you what I have prepared earlier called auto Fibonacci or auto fib. If I reveal that, there it is. So here it is. It displays the swing low to a swing high and the various levels in between. The 236, the 38.2, the 50, 61.8, 65. That's our little magic pocket, apparently. The 78.6 and the 100. But if I was to jump down to that 3-minute mark, now we have, it's a swing high from here down to here. But maybe, what if I wanted that to be a little bit up here? So I could go, let's give it a look back length of, say, 150. Oh, there we go. Now it's back to there. Now, we also are displaying the prices. We could take off the prices and just have the levels. And if we wanted to, we could extend the lines all the way to the end. So there we go. That's what I'm going to teach you all how to code. And let's begin. Now, this is most likely going to be a really quite a long video. So I will probably end up copying and pasting some of my previously written out code. There it is. And just to save a bit of time. Okay, so starting with a new script, obviously you go new, blank indicator script, and then you get this. So we are working with version 4, and we're working with a study. So to begin with, let's rename the study. Let's call it automatic. Automatic Fibonacci. And that's what I'm going to call it. Actually, I'm going to call it tutorial, just so it doesn't overwrite my previous one. Now, obviously, we are drawing this script over the top of the candles, so we need another parameter called overlay equals, equals true. We don't need plot.close, so we can just get rid of that right now. Okay, so now that we've got that, give me a few lines, and let's just create a section break there, just to make it tidy. Now, in the previous, in the example I showed you, I was able to extend the lines and I could turn the prices on or off. Those were simple true, false checkboxes. So let's start with that first. Let's call the extend, if we want to extend the lines, we either want to extend them to the right. So let's go into here. Did I close down that? I did too, didn't I? Okay, let's go Pinescript reference new window, and let's type in line.new. There it is. Okay, extend. So this is the parameter that we can play with, and the what's the term? The different available types, I guess you could call it, extend.none, extend.right, extend.left. So essentially, or extend both. Look at that. So you can either extend the line from to the left, to the right, both, or nothing. Okay, so I'm going to work with just the extend.right. All right, so it's going to either be extend none or extend to the right. So to do that, I'm going to create a ternary condition and build that into the input itself. So for those who don't know what a ternary condition is a condition followed by a question mark. If the condition evaluates to true, then following the question mark is whatever happens if it's true. Then you go colon, and whatever follows the colon is whatever happens if the condition evaluates to false, called extend type. And that I'm going to tab, I'm going to go tab again just to make it lovely, equals, and then we're going to have an input, and I'm going to make the input false for now, and then the title will be extend lines, and it's going to be a question mark because we're going to ask the user, would you like to extend the lines? Now, obviously we could just leave it like that, but let's just make it title equals, and then we have extend lines. So that is going to give us a little checkbox that will by default be unchecked, hence false, and it'll have next to it the words extend lines. Now, what we're going to do is at the moment this variable will be holding a false value. In other words, if it was a ternary condition, the last statement will be stored in this variable. So what we're going to do is we're going to go the input, this part here, this, as well as it being a user input, it can also be a condition. So we're going to put a question mark, and now we want to have, if the condition evaluated to true, what do we want to do? flick back over here, we go to our extend. If it's true and we want to extend the lines, then we are going to want to use extend right. So let's just copy and paste. Otherwise, extend none. There, just that, thanks. There we go. And we'll also do that. So now we have a user input that is also a ternary condition with a true or false. So basically what's happening is this variable name is storing either extend.right or extend.none. Okay, and the default will be false, so therefore extend.none will be stored as extend type. Next, show underscore price. This one's going to be simple true or false. So input, let's make this one true. And title equals show prices, question mark. Cool. All right. Now let's go and take this line because we've finished with this section. So I'm going to go Shift and Alt and down arrow. And that makes a copy of that line. Now I'm going to use Alt and down arrow and I'm going to move it down to there. Now, if you saw the previous one, we wanted like what we did in our label video, we wanted to offset the labels into the future so that it wasn't right on top of the candle, the current candle. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a section so that we can enable the offset. We also need to know, if we're doing a Fibonacci retracement, we need to know what the highest part was, what the lowest part was within a certain period of time. What we're essentially going to do is if we go into indicators and we search for DC, Donchian channel, I wonder if I'm going to be like, there we go, and we use a, let's say 150 period look back. This is essentially showing us within 100 bars ago what was our highest value and our lowest value, and it'll also show the orange line here is our 50% level, so the midpoint between those upper and lower extremes. But this is essentially showing a 50% retracement of this level, but it's not showing anything else. So what we're going to do is we need to somehow code that. So let's start. First of all, we're going to we need to know a look back or a period of time that the Fibonacci is going to look for the highest and the lowest points. So I'm going to call this F period, and I'm going to get rid of that again and actually enter it in here. F period. Here I am mixing up my variable types, the way I'm writing it. So nice and mix and match. So let's call it 3 tabs ago, we're going to have an input. Let's create the default value of 100. Nice round number. And the title for that will be the look back length, like so. And that's basically what I need for that. So that'll give us, say, 100 periods to look back. The next one, we need to know what the highest value was within that period of time. So let's have it the Fibonacci high. So let's call it F high. Oh, why did that? I need one of those there. Of course, you all knew that, didn't you? Some of you were screaming at me going, hey, you've forgotten the equal sign, and that's okay. I'm glad you're paying attention. So to get the highest value, we use the function highest bracket, and we want to know what the highest value is within the period that we've selected. So we'll just take that variable and put that in there. So if we can have the highest, we also need the lowest. So I'm just going to copy that line and we're going to go lowest. There, yes. And we'll make this one called flow. Flow. Good old flow. And let's straighten that up to make it tidy. Okay, so now that we've got the highest value and the lowest value, if we are going to plot lines from the highest point and the lowest point, we need to know how many candles backwards to start plotting a line. So to do that, we are going to need to know when our swing high was and when our swing low was. So let's start with swing high. Swing high, sweet chariot. Okay, so highest bars. Highest bars is a function. And if we hover over highest bars, it says the built-in function, the syntax is source length or just length. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out the source, which is going to be our high, over a length, which we already know up here is our period. And we can take the same line and copy that, and we'll call that a swing low, which means we need lowest bars. And of course, we would need a low as the source. So we're saying, basically, it's kind of like incorporating bars since and highest high. It kind of incorporates them together. So this function will return how many bars back that we got the high at the highest point. If that makes any sense. You'll see what I mean when we get there. All right, so we have our swing high, we have our swing low. Now, the reason why we want to have how many bars back was our high point, our swing high, and how far back was our swing low, is because sometimes a Fibonacci is drawn from the low to the high, and sometimes it's drawn from the high to the low. Oops, didn't take that one. Sometimes it's drawn down. And the reason why you'd switch it around is because if we went from a high point to a low point and then we retraced 100% of that move, we would be back at the high. But if we were to do a Fibonacci from a low point to a high point and we retraced 100% of that move, we would go back down to the low. So we need to know at which point, which came first, the low or the high. So we do that with a condition. So we'll go swing high is less than swing low. All right, so we've basically a down fib is a bullish move. It's a bit counterintuitive. So the price went up, so we want to know if it retraces down. Okay. If it was a bearish move, let's kill that and take that. Say we're looking at this high to this low. Let's do that. Then we want to know if it's going to retrace upwards. Okay. Let's take a nice little arrow. So a bearish price move, in other words, a swing high down to a swing low, we want to plot the Fibonacci going back up again. So that would be an upwards fib. All right. If we, again, come back to this, we're looking at a swing low to a swing high, which means we want to plot a Fibonacci retracement going down. That's the way I see it anyway. So that's what I'm coding. Feel free to write your own, if you understand this, by all means, feel free to code it any way you like. But essentially, this is all we need is to know is a true or false is going to be stored in this down fib variable. A downwards Fibonacci scale means that we are plotting a bullish move or retracement of a bullish move. Okay, so let's just stick with that and move on. Okay, now line.new. When we had the label, we had an X and a Y. All right, so if we go label.new, we had an X and a Y, meaning at some point along the X-axis we plotted a label, and somewhere up and down we plotted the label price. Now in line.new, we are plotting a trend line. So a trend line, let's get that. We have an X and a Y. All right, so somewhere along this way we have our X1 and our Y1, but then our second point of this line is a second X point, so X2, and a second Y point, Y2. So if we do that, for example, and we go into the settings, the coordinates, where it says 82 and 271, these are our X coordinates, and the price 7337.64 and 7652.39, these are our Y points, so 1 and 2. That's how we're going to plot that. Hence why, if you go into the reference, we have X1, Y1, X2, Y2. We have our familiar X lock, extend, which we covered. We have color, we have a style, and we have a width. So width, I'm sure you are familiar. We can have a style. There we go. So we can extend left. We can extend right. Oh, well, trend lines, we can do all these. But we can also have a thickness. So type line dashed dotted, or we can have thin, number 2, number 3, number 4. All right. First of all, if we're going to have a X1 offset, we are going to want to know, we want to be able to enable the label offset. All right. So let's go to here. Let's give us a few more lines. Okay, and we are going to create the variable called X1, and this is going to be offset. And we're going to go equal. Now we need to know whether we're going up or down. So a down fib or an up fib. So it's going to be a ternary condition. Our condition is down fib, which is either true or false. If it equates to true, then we are going to have the bars from the swing high. Otherwise, just realize that this needs to go there. So swing high is less than swing low. X1 offset is either going to be the value taken from swing high or from swing low. The X2 offset, now what I'm going to do here is X2 offset, X2 underscore offset. I don't think I'm spelling offset very well, am I? No, I'm not. That's better. So this I'm going to allocate as 15. Now what this means is a line is going to be drawn, it's going to look back through these candles. It's going to find a high point, for example, and it's going to plot a line at the top of that peak. And whoopsie, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, it is going to plot a anchor point x1 at the high point of that candle, and it's going to extend all the way to the current candle at the same level, and that would be, for example, our 100% line, and that's going to draw a line like that. But what I want to do is I want to actually extend that line a little bit beyond where the current candle is. All right, just a little bit further by 15 candles, and that is what the x2 offset is for. Now, in order to enable the offsetting feature, I'm going to use the same technique I did in our label by using the bar time, because we want to offset into the future beyond where the current bar has been printed. We can't use bar index because where we want to plot the end of that line, the bars don't exist. So we can't have an index of something that doesn't exist. But we can have time. We can time travel. So we're going to use the same, basically the same variable as we did last time. Bar index duration. Okay, that's going to be our variable name. It's a brilliant name, I think. And it's going to be equal to the time minus the time 1 bar ago. Okay, and for those who need this, this is the time between bars, or our current resolution. Now we start getting into the nits of the grits. We want to figure out where we need to start our x1 point. Okay, so x1 is our variable, and that will be equal to our x1 offset multiplied by our bar index duration, meaning we're figuring out our x1 offset. So is it going to be the amount of bars back to our highest bar, or will it be the amount of bars back to our lowest bar? And to figure that out, we use whether it's a down fib or an up fib. Okay, so essentially, let's comment this. This is going to be our starting level X position. All right, so this is where we're going to start our our drawing of our lines from. Okay. Next, we want to have an x2, and this will be very similar. The x2 underscore offset multiplied by our bar index duration. So we're finding out how much time to offset, and comment that. This will be our ending level X. Let's make that that's fine, X position. Okay. Actually, yeah, we will capitalize that. Capital. Okay. So in other words, where is our line going? Where will our line terminate? All right. If we're drawing a trend line, where does it start? Where does it finish? All right. Okay. So at this point, we are simply figuring out up to here, how far back do we want to look? What is the highest value? What is the lowest value? These two values will allow us to calculate what each level will be, the 236, the 50% level, the 618 level, that sort of things. Swing high, swing low. This will allow us to calculate back how far was the swing high and how far was the swing low. Down fib allows us to choose which gets drawn first. The X1 offset allows us to figure out, how much to offset by which one, and 15 just gives us a bit more breathing room on the end of the line. Bar index duration calculates how much time is in each bar, and then by multiplying our offset by our bar index duration, X1 will be then given the value of an actual time along our x-axis. So what time are we plotting whatever we're plotting? Okay. So after that, let's start creating our calculations. Our Fibonacci level, let's start with at the beginning. Let's start with our Fibonacci 000. And I'm going to say 000 so that all the variable names of this section are the same length, 4 characters. So therefore the 50% level will be 500, F500. It's just as a variable name. So Fibonacci 000, or in other words, the 0 line, is going to be equal to, we want a condition, because it's going to be equal to one or the other. Okay, so our down fib is going to be F low, otherwise F high. I'm just going to reverse this to that. Okay, so a down fib now means that the swing high went first and the swing low came afterwards. So a down fib means we are moving down in price. What that then means is if we are in a down fib, in other words, we are bearish, then our 0 level, if we go to, if we draw this again, our 0 level will be plotted at our low point, not the high point. Okay, and you probably, for those who have played with it before, if we go into the settings, we can reverse. So basically it's unreversed. That could be something you could add as a feature in the script at a later stage, which totally. In fact, you could actually add something like reverse and put reverse direction. Reverse direction, there we go. And that would then mean we could go reverse. So if we go, let's go false, which means this condition would be our false condition, meaning if we go reverse ternary, copy that, and then we would reverse that. I'm just making that up on the fly right there and then. It's not even in my notes. I just figured that, well, I just thought that up. So let's, when it comes time to testing this out, let's see if we get an error on that. That'll be exciting. Anyway, back to it. Our Fibonacci level, our 0 level, the price level is going to be equal to either the low or the high. If it is a down fib, then it's going to be a low. If it is not a down fib, it'll be a high. Next variable will be our 236 level. So we're going to have our fib level of 236 will be equal to, again, we need the ternary condition, down fib, Now we need to do some calculations. We need to calculate a 0.236 amount of the entire move from high to low. And then we need to add that to our low. Or we need to take it from the high, depending on which way we're going. So let's start with the first part of the calculation. If it is a down fib, we need to create in brackets, because we want to calculate a number first. We want the F high value minus the F low value. So in other words, the amount of value between high to low, high minus low, will be the range of this move. Then we multiply that by 0.236. We then add that to the low. Okay, so in other words, the range multiplied by 236, which in this case, this range from that high to this low is the entire range. We multiply by 236 to get this much, and then we add that much to the low so that we bring the line up to the 236 level. However, if this down fib equates to false, then we need to reverse this calculation. And to reverse the calculation, we are going to say, instead of adding it to the low, we're going to have the high minus the F, the range, so F high minus F low, and multiply that by 0.236. All right, so on one part of the equation, if we have a true condition for down fib, we have the range times the ratio added to the low. Otherwise, we have the high minus the ratio times the range. So that's how that works. Now, just to save a bit of time, I'm just going to go ahead and type the rest of this out for you. Okay, stay tuned. And welcome back. So here we go. That's the rest of the calculations. It's exactly the same way of doing it, except you create a new variable name, in this case F382, down fib, the range, F high minus F low, times 0.382 plus the F low, otherwise the high, minus the range times the ratio. Just thinking now what you could have done to make it a little different is you could have gone, say, F range is equal to F high minus F low. Oops, you could do that. Don't need that. And then you could then use that variable in place of that. That's another way you could have done it, but I didn't do that, so I'm just going to go with that. Okay, so now what we have is we have now calculated all the levels of the Fibonacci, and I'm not adding in the extra. You could, if you wanted to add extra, you just need to create another variable name and give it a different ratio. Okay. Now, once we've got the values, we want to give it some color. We want to add the different colors to it. So let's create another little section down here. And following along the naming convention, I'm going to go F000 underscore COLOR, color. So the 0 level color is going to be, I'm going to go tab equals, and while I'm at it, I'm just going to pull all those across, just because I like to be a little neat. Actually, I'm going to do it twice and make it in line with everything else, like so. There we go. All right. So if 000 underscore color, the variable is going to be equal to color.new. So I'm going to create a brand new color, or a color from a color palette. It's going to be the color.white with a 0 transparency. Okay. Let's do that again. F236 underscore color equal to color.new. Now what we could do is we go control space. No, we won't. We'll go color first. See, I want a color. Control space brings up this little menu. So let's assign our red, our gave it away, our 236 line. Let's assign that to the color red. Okay, and of course give it a 0% transparency. In other words, fully opaque. All right, so what you can now do is you could then, to save a bit of time, I could go Control Shift, not Control Shift, Shift Alt down arrow, rename that 382, get rid of the 6, and get rid of red, Control Space. Let's give the 382, let's assign the 382 color as a yellow color. And again, to save a bit of time, I'm just going to type everything out for you. So now, what I have done here is I wanted the 786 variable, rather than a predefined color from the standard list of colors, I wanted to give a custom color. So in this case, I've given it the custom color 2196F3, which is such a great name for a color. It's essentially the same color as the 786 level that I have here. Now, the way that I did that is as such. I went to a trend line, like so. I went into the settings. I went to style. I clicked on the color palette there. I then clicked on that color that I wanted, but then I went down to the plus symbol to add custom color. I hit the plus symbol, and then I copied that value. Now it won't copy the hash tag. I copy that. Now I hit cancel. Now I can delete that line, and then I can paste in that number. Okay, just make sure you add the hash symbol first and then paste it in, because it won't recognize it as a color otherwise. All right, so that's how you get a customized color. So color.new hash whatever it is 0. As a side note, when you have these custom colors, it is a hexadecimal value that represents red, green, and blue. To give you an idea, it's 6 digits here. So in this case, it's 2196F3. In other words, 21 is the red value, 96 is the green value, F3 is the blue value. This is using hexadecimal, so it's going from the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then if you were to count one more after F, you would get the number 10, right? Because it's hexadecimal. Between the numbers 9 and 10, you have letters A, B, C, D, E, or F. Okay, so what that's saying is the value 00 through to FF is 255 levels. All right, so 00, 01, 02, 03, 04, blah, 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 up to 0F. and then you would go 1 0, 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, blah 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 blah, up all the way up to 1F, and then 2 0, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, blah 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 blah, up to 2F, and so on and so forth, all the way up to FF, where you would have, where that would be the equivalent to the number 255. So therefore, if you were to have the number, the hash, the color hash of FF, 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 it is like you are saying, I want a color with the red, green, and blue values, full strength red, full strength green, and full strength blue. All right, and to give you an idea of what that would look like, let's draw a square, like so. Let's go to background. Let's pump up the transparency, the opaqueness. It's weird. This is actually 100% opaque, whereas in code it's a percentage of transparency. Anyway, so I'm going to go to a custom color, and if I was to type it in as FFFFFF, we get white. All right. If we were to put 000000, we get black. So if we wanted a grey, we would need to calculate the values that are in between 0 and F, which is what? Half of 16 is 8. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. There we go, grey. All right, so that's a quick lesson in hexadecimal notating of colors. All right, and moving on. So we have our levels, we have the prices, we have our colors. Now we need to figure out how we're going to label the lines, because every line needs a label, unless you decide not to, in which case, so what? Anyway, I'm going to follow the same sort of convention. We have our F000, we have our F000 color. Well, we are also going to have an F000 underscore label, LBL. That is going to be equal to, so let's jump across to here. Now, we have decided to create the script where we have the option to show the prices or not. So this is where we're going to use this input variable. We are using lots of ternary conditions through the script. So we're going to have, the condition is show price. The next part of this will be a question mark, obviously, because it's a ternary condition. Now, we're basically creating text, strings of text to use as a label. All right. So if we want to show the price, we also want to show the level. So we're going to start with the text string. So a string of text needs to be encased within quotation marks. And the 0 level, because it's the F000 level, we're going to have 0%. All right, so that is a string of text that's going to display as a label. Because we are also showing the price, I want to wrap the price and separate it visually somehow. So I'm going to encapsulate the price level in square brackets. All right, so I'm going to put the first square bracket inside the quotation marks, so that essentially the first part of the label will be 0% space open square bracket. To this, I want to concatenate the price. So I need to pull the price from the variable that is storing the price of the F0. So what we'll do is we're going to convert the actual value of that price to a string of text. So we're going to use the function string, open bracket, punch in our variable name, it automatically closes the brackets, and that will give the numbers of the level. We then want to concatenate again. We went from a string of text. We also want to concatenate that there. There we go. So the plus symbol concatenates. We then concatenate a string variable of a value. We then want to concatenate the string of text, and that string of text will contain a space and a close bracket. Okay, so if show price is true, we want our label to display the Fibonacci level, a open square bracket, the string of text that is the value of that level, and we want to then concatenate to the end of that the closing of the square bracket. However, if we do not want to show prices, or in other words, the variable show price equates to false, then we go colon. Then, well, all we need to do is display the 0%. All right, so we go string of text 0%. All right, and that is what our label will look like. That's what our label for the 0 level will be. It'll either be percentage sign with a price, or it'll just be percentage sign. Okay, so same thing applies to every other level. We're going to have our variable name, so F236 underscore LBL, in other words, the Fibonacci level of the 236, and we're labeling it, will be equal to, and again, if we just take this whole thing, we can go copy, paste. We want to change this to the 23.6% level, which means we want to also replace that variable with F236 and then 23.6. All right, so then you just continue writing out each line as it is, or you could copy and paste. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the rest of these. Go make yourself a instant cup of coffee rather than a cup of instant coffee. So see you soon. And welcome back. So there you go. We have the rest of our variable names, showing the price or not, the strings, our variables, and all that. Okay. Right, so now that we've got all our calculations and how much things are and which way they get put and blah, 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 let's cap off this section. So let's put down there. Actually, let's bump it up a bit to there. Cool. End and give a few more lines. Okay. Next, let's put in. Let's create the appearance of our labels. So let's just label this set up label appearance. There we go. That looks about right. And we are going to create a variable called label underscore style. And the reason why I'm doing this is because we are going to be creating lots and lots of different lines. Each line is going to be having the same style. But if I'm talking about the labels here, sorry. However, if I want to change that style at any point, I don't want to have to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times changing the same part of the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create essentially a style so that if I did want to change the label style, I just need to change it here, and it will create the changes moving down the track. All right, and just while I'm at it, I'm going to pop this across just to make it nice and neat. There we go. Okay, so label style is going to be label dot style, and I'm going to use none, okay, which is going to look like this. In other words, it's going to look like the percentage symbol, and then in square brackets, yeah. So it's not going to be having a background color or anything like that. Next, how big do we want? Let's go label size. So label underscore size, because we might want to change the size of the label too. So this just allows us to easily make changes once in one area rather than having to go through code and changing the same variable or parameter multiple times. Okay, so size, control space, size.normal. Let's make it a normal size. Let's finish that section like so. Now, let's start plotting things. First of all, let's save what we've done so that we don't lose something. Let's call this. Oh, there we go. Huh. I'm missing the minus symbol. So let's clear the console and try saving that again. Oh, must have at least. Okay, I figured that was going to happen. So the script, it's saying the script must have at least one output function, and at this point we don't have one. Because we haven't got to that point yet. So we are just going to ignore this error for now. What I could have done is throw in at the bottom here, plot, close, and that would allow us to get rid of that error. There we go. So that, now it's all happy. So just bear in mind, we are going to delete that pretty soon. All right, so we are now at the point where we are going to plot the line. So we are going to go ln. First we're going to give a. Okay, how do I put this? I'm going to be copying and pasting the same code over and over again, and each time each line is going to be called the same thing, because every single candle that gets printed, we need to delete the previous version of that line and recreate it all over again. So we want to give the line a variable name so that when we delete it, we are telling it which variable to delete or which line to delete. So I'm starting with a variable name. In this case, the name is ln for line. I'm going to go equals line.new, and now I am going to jump up to here, and let's have a look. I'm going to copy everything there up to the point where the parenthesis starts. I'm going to copy. This is one way to do it. I find it quite easy to do. So I find it an easy way of reading the code when I do it this way. So you open your brackets and then you go paste, get rid of that other there. Now, this is all the arguments you need, but I want to make it a little bit easier to read. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take each variable and put them on their own line. And to do that, I'm going to go start there. I'm going to go enter, and I'm going to give it a space. Then I'll go Y1, enter space. Oops, no, I don't need an extra space, just one space. So once you've done that, you can then go enter, 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 enter. Okay. Now, as you can see, each of these parameters has a comma on the end. Make sure you keep those commas because, well, those who saw my last video, one of them I accidentally left off and it took me a little while to figure out that I had done that. So, mistakes happen all the time. All right, so x1. Now, x1 will be the coordinate of where we are going to start drawing the first line from. And we are going to draw, I'm just going to comment which line I'm doing. We are going to draw the 0 line. We're going to start drawing the first line from. And we are going to draw, I'm just going to comment which line I'm doing. We are going to draw the 0 line. Line equals line.new, x1, y1, x2, y2. So x and y coordinates for the start and the end. So x1, that is going to be a time along the x-axis of the current candle plus our x1 variable, which is all the way back here. Okay, so x1, go in front of the comma. I'm going to go tab, tab, maybe 3 tabs, is going to be equal to the time of the current candle plus our variable x1. Okay, now with any luck, the x1 offset is going to be a negative value. So x1 offset is our swing high, and our swing high should be our highest bars. Okay, so x1, same thing now for y. The y1, so remember that y1 is the price coordinate, the price axis, is going to be equal to, and we have that variable right here. It's either the low or the high. So I'm going to copy that, put it right there. Okay. Because we are plotting horizontal lines, our y1 and our y2 level will be the same because it's a horizontal line. In other scripts, you could make it so that it plots from the highest high to the lowest low, in which case you would have different y values. Right? You can make trend lines go diagonal as well, obviously. So what we're going to do is y2 is going to be exactly the same as y1. Okay, so both y will be the same value. Next, x2, this one, 1, 2, 3. This will be the end point of the line. So it'll be equal to x2. So it'll be the time of the current candle plus x2. So remember that the time function here is referring to what time is currently being as the current candle. X2 is getting the offset, so 15 times the resolution. So we're getting 15, in this case 3 minutes, so 15 times 3 means that the end of the line will be plotted 45 minutes into the future. Now, xlock, our xlock parameter, that is where we specify how we are defining our x coordinate. And if we pop back over to here, xlock, it's there, it's a string. So it's either going to be xlock.barIndex or xlock.barTime. Now, in a regular trend line, a regular trend line will use bar index. All right, so the index of the first part of this line is index 332. If we go, say, 200, jumps back to there. So this is bar 200. So let's go back to 300, like so, and let's put that right on current price. Let's see, so current price is currently the index of 325. What we are using is we're not using indexes, we are using bar times, so the actual time on this chart. So what we need to do here is specify that our X lock is equal to X lock, X location, dot bar underscore time. So we're now saying when I give you a value in the X coordinates, I am referring to time, not a number of an index. Okay. Now, extend. Extend is a variable that we have defined earlier. All the way back here, extend type. So it's either going to be extend right or extend none. There we go. So either extend none or any of these. So we are going to take this variable name and put it there. Cool. So far, we've got all these going on. Now we've got color. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2 maybe. Equal to. Now we already have defined what color we want to use for our zero line. And here it is here. F0 underscore color. There. Pop. And what we could do, you know what I think? Style. Now we're going to use line.style solid. So that's going to be line.style underscore solid. Oops, blah. That is not how we spell it. There we go. Line.style solid. However, like what we did with our labels, we may want to change the style of these lines. So there's no point in writing it here. Because we're going to be copying this section over and over and over again. And if we want to change the style, we're going to have to come in and change each and every single instance of this variable, of this parameter. So what we're going to do is let's put line and, so we're going to set up the line and label appearance. I'm going to take that, copy, and I'm going to put it there. Obviously I'm going to put a variable name in there first, so let's call that line underscore style is equal to line.style.solid. Now I can take this and put that right there. Okay, too easy. Now width, width equals 1. We could just pop it in as 1. Chances are 1 is all we really need. You could, if you chose to, create a variable up here and call it line underscore width and then define it as 1. Or you could make it an input variable so that the user could type in a number. I'm just going to leave it as 1 for now. Just simply because I personally wouldn't ever change the thickness of above 1, to be honest. So we have that. Now, after we have created this line, we need to delete the previous instance of this line for each bar. So to do that, we're going to come back to the far left-hand margin, and we're going to use line.delete. Then we want to tell it which line we want to delete. So we're going to line delete, open that function. Then we're going to specify the line, which up here is that variable. We named this line ln. Copy that, paste line, and it's going to be the previous line, so an index of 1. Let's save that. See if we get any errors. No errors. Cool. That means we can now probably get rid of. We can just get rid of this plot and get rid of that and save, and cool. So let's see what happens so far. Let's just have a look. Okay, so we'll go add to chart. There we go. So at the moment we are drawing a white line from the high point to the low point. So it is measured. This is our low and this is our high. Therefore it is drawing, this is the low, yeah, so it looks like it has reversed. Has it reversed? Yes. Wonder why low, yeah, okay, so let's test our variables out. Let's get rid of the Fibonacci. Let's test out these. So if we go reverse direction, there we go, it's now plotting it at the high. So that's our 0 line. So there we go. So maybe we might actually plot that around a different way. So let's go in and change. Let's see, down fib, reverse. So let's go, let's just do it this way. Let's switch the functions around and save. Okay, so now so the 0 line, it's drawn from the low to the high, which means if the price was still at the high, it is retraced 0%. And if we reverse that direction, it would retrace it down, the 0 will be down there. Cool, and extend lines. Yep, that works. Show prices, well that's not going to do anything at the moment because we haven't got to that point yet. Okay, oh, and we could have our look back length as, say, 150. Oh, and then now we're looking back here. So it looks like it's working as we wished. Let's continue. Now, let's go. We're going to add our label to it. So we're still working on our 0 line. Now let's go. Pop. Let's start our label as being called a variable name. So we'll call it, just like our last video, LBL label is equal to label.new. Label.new, where are we? There we go, label.new, like so. And we're going to go enter, space, and we're going to have, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cheat. No, I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to become efficient and go label.new, like so. I'm going to take all of those parameters. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to get rid of that and go there. Now I'm going to enter space, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for the line. Go through and put enter everything. Now I am not going to use the text align function on this, so I'm actually just going to delete that, meaning the size parameter will not have the comma on the end of it because it's the last parameter of the argument list. I also, let's have a look, we've got X, we have Y, we have X lock. I'm going to put text, I'm going to put the text down underneath Y lock. So I'm going to take the Alt symbol, and I'm going to go move it down. So we have X, Y, X lock, Y lock, text, color. Now we've got text color. So if we're going to, let's put text color and text next to each other. So we'll move that up to there. No, let's put text color and color next to each other. Let's do it that way. So we've got text color, style and size. All right. And of course, once we've made a label, we'll need to be able to delete the label. So label.delete LBL previous version. Okay, so that's our label. Now let's fill in all the bits and pieces. So X, now our X location, 1, 2, 3. X will be up here somewhere. And it'll be, where is it? Ah, we don't know where to put that label yet. So let's just, or do we? No, we don't. Huh. We're going to have to add in a line up here. So we have in our line, we had our x1, which told it the time at which to start plotting our first point. Our label is no different. It needs an offset x location. So what we're going to do is we're going to plot our label at the current time, but we also need to add to it an offset amount calculated as a time value. So to do that, let's go up here. I'm going to put it underneath here. So it's going to be next to where the line x2 variable was. So in other words, it's going to be planting a label right next to the end of the line. So I'm going to go LBL for label underscore x2. I could have called it x1 or I could have called it x. It really doesn't make much of a difference. I'm just going to call it x2. Okay. Tab across. Actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to tab these across to bring everything into the same line, like so. Makes it nice and neat. All right, so label x2. Now, the label is going to be, if we're going to show the price, then the label is going to get wider than if we just show the level. And the coordinate of the label will be at the center of the label. Meaning if we have a long label, then there is a chance that we might need to move the label further to the right so that it doesn't write over the current candle. Okay, I will show you what I mean by that in a second. I'll explain what I mean, but to start with, what we want to do is we want to take this variable, show price, because we want to ask the question, are we going to show the price? If we do, then the label is going to get wider, and so we need to allow for more room. So equals, we want to go show price, then if we are going to show the price, we're going to give it the value of 15. Otherwise, we're going to give it the value of 6. Now these are just numbers I've come up with in advance. You'll see why in a second. So this show price 15, otherwise 6, I'm going to encase all of that in brackets because at the end of the day, all I want to know is a number. It's either going to be 15 or 6. To that, I want to add the x2 offset, all right, which I defined here. All right. Now the x2 offset was how far past the current candle do I want the middle of my label? All right, so let's just imagine for a second that was our label. We are going to be plotting the middle of this label. All right, so if we are going to have a large label, we don't want the middle of it being there because it's going to print all over our candle. So if it's a wide label, we want to move that label a little bit further. Okay, so we have already said the label will be 15 bars to the front, to the right. We are now adding 15 to that, or we are adding 6 to that. All right, I could add 6 to this and then put 0 there. Yeah, it is what it is. So we have x2 offset. Now, we then want to surround that as well as the initial one with brackets so that this gives us a final number. And essentially, this gives us a whole integer. It gives us x2 offset, or 15. And if show prices was true, it would give us 15. So we would get 15 plus 15, meaning that at this point, we get the number 30. We then multiply that number, the 30, by the resolution, or the duration of each bar index duration, and that would give us a time that our middle of our label needs to be plotted at. All right, so let's just push the comment forward, and while I'm at it, there we go. So essentially what we've done is we've created our label X position. Now we can take this variable, come back down here to our X location, and we are saying our label will be plotted out at the current time plus the time that we have calculated it to be our offset. In other words, label x2. The y, well, we want this label to be the same level as our line, so we can use f000. So that's pretty easy. Equals that. What the gremlins? Damn you! There we go. Boom. All right, so let's have a look. Where are we up to? Y is our F000. Now, X lock, that is going to be the same as this. We are saying when we specify a X location, we are specifying it as xlock.bar time. Now, our Y lock, we now need to specify that when we are talking about the placement of this label, we want to specify the location of our y-axis as a price. Our options here would have been above the bar or below the bar. We want it to be at the price that we're specifying. Okay. Next, text. Oops. Our text is already specified above. Where is it? Label. So we want to look for the FOOO underscore label. We'll bring that variable down here. Our color. we've already specified that above, and that is going to be our FOOO color. Now our text color, well, our text color is going to be the same. Now, just to let you know, the color portion of things is irrelevant. I've included it here should you wish to change the colors. Should you wish to change the style of the label. Right? Now the label is currently set at label.style_none. Basically what that means is all you're going to see is text. You're not going to see it with a background color. All right? If you were to change the label.style to something like what we did in the previous video, label.triangle up, then it would be giving you a background color, at which case you would want to have a different color for the text. Otherwise you would just see a colored label with no text, because the text is the same color as the label. So I've included it here. Just bear in mind that if you wanted to have a label background, you would be best to change the text color, in which case you would probably want to recreate this section again and rename the variables _text color and then give it a different color. All right, but that's something you can figure out to do once you've got a handle on all of this. Are you still with me? If you are still here and you're still watching this video, man, I commend you. I really thank you, because how long have I been going for? Let's have a look. I've been going for, oh my God, 1 hour and 43, although it won't look like that in the video because I will have chopped and changed and edited out a lot of parts to try and squeeze in the time of it. So anyway, we're pretty much almost finished, kinda. What we're going to do now, where are we up to? We're at 00 color, and I've explained that you need to have text color and background color. Style. We already know the answer to this one. We have defined it above as label style, like so. And same with size is equal to label size. Now, the benefit of doing this is that if you want to change it, you just need to change it here, not here. All right. So if I save that, let's see if we get any boo-boos. Does it look like we got any boo-boos? All right. So we are drawing the 0% line, and we can show prices or not show prices. So there, what it's doing is it's choosing between the string of text that has concatenated the price on the end of it, or we are choosing the string of text that just has the level on it. We can still extend the lines back and forth. We can reverse the direction. If we show the prices, 7466 or 7564. So yep, that's updating as it should. So now here comes a rather important point. If you need to take a pause, I suggest pause now, go and make yourself a cup of tea, breath of fresh air for sure. There is a thing called a local scope. And when you are working in a local scope, you would be using things like an if condition or a loop. And what that basically means is if I go if true or false, our variable name, true or false, then to create the if condition, we would then do a tab. And from that point on, everything contained in that if condition will be put forward 4 spaces or 1 tab from the margin. that would be everything contained in that, in the scope of that if condition. So that if you were to create a variable within that if condition, you know, variable equals 5, whatever, then once you jumped out of that if condition, that variable is only visible while in that scope. So if I was to then say, next variable is equal to var, this would return an error because the var variable, this is probably a bit wrong way of doing it. Let's do that. Var, there we go, if true. Well, so the variable name is var, which means that is a capital var. So this would return an error because the next variable is being assigned the variable var, but the code does not see this var variable because it is wrapped up in the scope of this if condition only. For the next variable to be able to see that variable, the var equals 5 would have to be outside of the if condition, and the if condition would then have to say var reassigns to 9, for example. Now this would work because we are creating the variable here. We then reassign the variable there, and then it gets read there. All right. So with a local scope, the reason why I want to use the power of this is because I don't want to have to keep giving these lines different names all the time. I like the convention LBL. So because I'm creating that variable for each line, I'm going to contain those variables within their own scope. So I'm going to put them all in their own if condition. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this whole section here, the line section, I'm going to do them separately, by the way. The whole line dot equals line.new and all these functions plus line.delete, they are going to be tabbed forward into their own scope, and I'm going to add above that if true. And that way it's always true because true is always true. Therefore, this will always evaluate to true. Therefore, the code will always get run. You could, as an option, create an input, true Boolean input here, where you could do a checkbox for each line, and then you could say show underscore F0000 and show underscore F236 and show underscore F382. You could have check marks for all of them, and then you could put that condition there. So if show underscore F0000, then it would run all this. All right, so that is a way that you could turn each line on or off. All right. But by doing it this way, it then constrains all of this code into its own scope, and I don't have to rename ln or lbl. So let's do the lbl one. So if true, then I take all of that code up to lbl equals line.new, and I tab that into its own scope. Okay, so now if I hit save, let's see what happens. No errors. Woohoo! All right. Reverse direction, everything still works. Yes. Yep. Extend lines, everything works. Yep. Show price. Yep. Cool. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to take this dotted line, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to bring it down underneath here, give it one more space, and now you want to create the next line. Now, most of the hard work is done. Everything is going to be exactly the same except for your variable names. So in this section where you've got FOOO, your next one will be the 236 line. All right, which means we can take all of that, we can copy that, put it down there, whoop, and then we would go through and we would rename everything that has the FOOO. So we would take that and we would call that F236. I'll copy that. I'll copy it, paste it into there. I'll paste it there and paste that there, there, there. Everything else is the same. So everything that has a 000 or F000 gets changed to F236. That looks good. It looks good. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. All right, and if I hit save, we should get our second line. And it was that quick. All right. Next, I'm just going to pause the video and copy the rest of it all in, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, welcome back. That was a little bit of time for me and very little time for you. So here I've got the 236 line, I've got the 382, I've got the 500 or the 50% line, the 618, the 650. That's an optional one. You don't have to add that if you don't want to. In fact, you might want to do a checkbox. Oh, actually, yeah, you could do this. Show 650 equal to input true, title equals show 65.0% level. Then we take that and replace it. There we go. And place it there too. So then if we hit save, we should get, fingers crossed, dun dun dun, there we go. And if we go into our settings, we can go turn that off, and there we go, we can turn that off. So that would be a way of doing it, and that way you would also have all the various levels underneath here. Okay, so that was almost 2 hours of my time, and I hope you guys learnt a buttload from that. So we can extend the lines, yes. We can turn the prices on or off, yes. We can reverse the direction, yes. Oh, look at that. And we can turn the 65 on or off, yes. And if I scroll out to, say, the daily, oh, and let's hide all the printed marks. So this is looking back 100 periods, and let's just get rid of the volume for a sec. Nice and clean. So we could say, let's increase our look back to a 200 period. Okay. So it didn't make any difference. 200 or 100, well, that makes sense actually. All right, let's go 1000. Wow, there we go. There we go. Okay, well, we could even go as far as 1200. No, let's just experiment with something. Let's go 1100. No, let's go 1050. That's what I'm after. Oh, look at that. So, whew, let's see if we can get the price down here, eh? Wales, let's do that. I would like to buy right there. So there we go. Fibonacci, looking back 1,050 periods. We get our all-time high at the 0. Our 100 is this low point back in July 17. And if we want to reverse, it works. We can show the prices or not. And we can extend the lines or not. There we go. So this does lend itself for a bit of further customization. For example, you could add an options box in the code. So you could choose whether you wanted to extend to the left, extend to the right, extend both, or extend none, which is what it has at the moment. You could change the style. You could add all sorts of conditions in this. All right, so this is how you do a automatic Fibonacci for your scripts. So I hope you liked that. For those of you who wish to get a copy of this whole script, if you can't be bothered typing it out yourself, for VIP members of my Discord, the code will be in there. If you want to be a VIP member, just let me know in Discord and we'll work something out. Have a great day. I don't know when the next one will be. I just happen to have some time available. It's now 3:44, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for dropping in. I would really appreciate getting a thumbs up for the script. I know it's super, super long, and I wouldn't blame you if you paused a number of times and came back. If you made it all the way to the end in one sitting, wow, huge, huge applause to you. You are truly a wonderful person and a great supporter. Thank you so much. Thank you if you are a subscriber. Last time I looked at my YouTube channel, I had 900 subscribers, and that may not sound like a lot to some of the other YouTubers out there, but for me, this was just a little hobby. I never imagined it would get higher than 10. So to get 900, wow. If we can get to 1,000, wow, let's try for that. So, you know, I don't tend to make a lot of videos as often as I used to. So, consider subscribing, and once in a while you might get a notification if you click the notification bell, should you wish to ding-a-ling, whatever. So thanks heaps. Appreciate your support, and drop into the Discord, jump in, feel free to ask a question, contribute some knowledge of your own. Let me know what tweaks you made to some of the scripts. If you would like to find out more about this indicator, the hurricane indicator, this, send me a link, send me a chat. I can explain it a bit. The link, there is a link in the description of how to find out about it and stuff. There are some, oops, wrong one. There are some other options where if you like the 3 Kumo look to it, but you still prefer Ichimoku, there is the option for Ichimoku. And essentially what it does is each cloud, the lightning and the thunder cloud, become like the Tenkan-sen and the Kijin-sen, and then the storm cloud becomes like the regular Kumo. There are various alerts built in. So if I go into my alerts and we go to here, over to here, we have various alerts that are built in. a full description. The link in the description will take you to a a Google Docs document outlining everything about it. So yeah, if you like it, try it out. If you really like it and you want to keep it, let me know. All right, guys and girls and people, enjoy playing with this line.new, and toodaloo, catch you later, and have a great one. Bye.